The Arizona Cardinals seem to be getting healthier every day leading up to Week 9. Their showdown with their division rival, the San Francisco 49ers. But will their franchise signal caller be in the lineup? Kyler Murray is going to be healthy enough to go come Sunday, so the Arizona Cardinals can rebound from their first loss of the season. We're breaking it down. We're also giving you our full game predictions. Of course, our offensive and defensive players of the game. It's Bo and it's Alex, and it's Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on? Rise up, Red Sea. It's a Week 9 preview at Locked On Cardinals. Bo Brack, Alex Clancy. Follow along on Twitter at Locked On AZCards, at Clancy's Corner, and at Bob Brack. Easiest way to find me, Bo Brack. This episode brought to you by McDonald's. Proudly serving communities since 1965, McDonald's has always been more than just a place to get tasty, affordable food. It's an unofficial community center. A big thank you to our friends at McDonald's for always being there. I'm loving it.
I'm loving it.
There you go. Perfect. It just in synchronicity. Perfect. It was lovely. It looks like the Arizona Cardinals offense marching down the field against the Green Bay Packers for 99 yards. We do have a game to preview. Cardinals taking on the Niners, the team that the Arizona Cardinals beat in, Week 4? They took them down 17-10. It was a rookie quarterback in the lineup. Or was it Week 5? I can't even freaking remember. The Rams were Week 4. Niners were Week 5. And then you had the Browns in Week 6. It was 17-10. Trey Lance not going to be in the starting lineup. It looks like a Jimmy Garoppolo will be back as the 49ers signal caller. He was in the lineup last week, threw for over 300 yards, had a bounce back after a horrible game against the Indianapolis Colts where he threw 2 picks in the rain. It's interesting to me, Alex, because when you start to break it down, and of course we're going to give our full preview, but to me, if Kyler Murray's back in the lineup and Rodney Hudson's back at starting center for the Arizona Cardinals, and you're facing this Niners defense, which gave you fits in a couple weeks ago, that would be back-to-back games that with Robert Saleh at the end of last year, Week 16. We know about the horrible loss, C.J. Beathard in the lineup. That's 2 games in a row that the Niners have kind of played their game against the Cardinals. It's imperative that the offense shows up on Sunday and really gets on track after having a couple down weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be it's a scheme thing. This is a big Cliff game. It's a big Cliff game. It's a big Sean Kugler game. If Kyler Murray plays, protect the king. We talked about that yesterday. I mean, that's the name of the game, but also you have to score points, and the offensive scheme has to be completely streamlined so the Cardinals can get a W on the road against a team they should beat. Now, this is like the Cardinals are playing the 49ers for the first time. The Cardinals were still trying to figure out their offense. Obviously, what they did on the defensive side of the ball, the 49ers, when they were at State Farm Stadium earlier this season, that was their game plan. We're not going to score points. We need to stop the Cardinals from putting up a 30-burger. And they did that. The Cardinals just, were a better team on the field. This is a completely different matchup. George Kittle's most likely going to be back. You said Jimmy Garoppolo is playing. Kyler Murray's hobbled. This is like a completely different season. Luckily, the offensive line is going to be back, as you mentioned, with Justin Murray and Rodney Hudson. But this is a game the Cardinals should win. This is a game the Cardinals need to win to stop the bleeding. And this is a game where the Cardinals can reintroduce themselves to local and national media alike. Say, you know what? Thursday night was a weird game. It was an exception to the rule and not looking to be the rule for the better part of the rest of the season.
Yeah, and it's important because, and I mentioned this earlier this week, there's different tiers of bad teams. There's different tiers of good teams in the NFL as well. I think the Arizona Cardinals are in the top tier right now. Despite their loss on Thursday Night Football, they showed tremendous amount of fight, and they had that never say die attitude, and it was one bad play that cost them potentially going 8-0, or at least seeing overtime against the Green Bay Packers, and then it would have been a different story probably without Kyler Murray because of the ankle injury. But you have they're at the top of the NFL, and then you've got some good teams in there, the teams that will play sometimes down to their opponents. You've got some teams that are facing injuries, like the Tennessee Titans are probably a step below the Cardinals. They have some good wins, and they have some bad losses, including the season opener against the Redbirds. And then there's like the Niners. The Niners is like the top of the bad teams, to where they have enough talent on their team to where if you don't come out and you're not focused, you might get your butt beat. And then there's like the bad teams, and we've seen 2 of those this year. We've seen the Texans, we've seen the Jags. I think the Bears are probably just above that level, a team that the Niners had an easy time with last week. But this is a Niners team to where I think that they could absolutely come out, especially at home, getting healthier. Jimmy G coming off a decent game. That if you're not on your A game, if you're not focused, you could come out of there and have an out. You could take it out, and that's what the difference is between different bad teams in this league, especially in 2021. One thing I will say, and we have a lot of fun about at his expense because his record's so horrible outside of the 2019 season. We love to poke fun at Kyle Shanahan. We did on our crossover. There were no punches pulled as far as that was concerned. But, I think he's a good coach. I do. I think that offensively, and you said this too in the crossover, he's a very strong offensive mind coach, but he's not a coach that can elevate a bad roster. He doesn't have that ability. There are some coaches that can do that. They can take, you can give them chicken ass and you can make chicken salad out of it, or take lemons and make lemonade, whatever cliche you want to use. Kyle Shanahan doesn't have that ability. And this is not exactly the strongest roster, even with George Kittle potentially returning. And then Jimmy G, we know what his shortcomings are throwing the football.
Yeah. I mean, this is the quintessential top heavy, skill position team offensively. Jimmy G's a B-. George Kittle's an A+, and Deebo Samuel through 8 weeks has been an A. He's been an A. He's taken the roof off of defenses. Like, he's just, if you told me against any opponent that the 49ers put up 35 points, I'd be like, yeah, I could see that. If you see the 49ers put up 3 points against any opponent, I'd be like, yeah, I could see that too. So I agree with you about Shanahan that he's not, the world beater head coach that, that some are, but they scare me just enough. They're the perfect middle-class team in the NFL, where it's kind of waning middle-class wise. It's becoming more polarizing. But yeah, I mean, Kyle Shanahan's, he's not a top-tier head coach like most people think he is.
He's not the coach that Niners fans believe he is, and they're starting to come around on it. And I've seen other people kind of come around, and I saw them put the winning percentage down for Cliff Kingsbury and Kyle Shanahan. And I think probably most novice NFL fans would not even believe that stat to be true. That Cliff Kingsbury's his career winning percentage now at the NFL levels well above 500. I think it's like 521, and Shanahan's is well below. That's something that you and I knew. We were talking about ages ago. I mean, we were knocking on Shanahan. Was it even last year or the year before? I mean, we've kind of noticed that some of the stuff that's happened is a little bit fraudulent, and that the anomaly in this on his resume is 2019. It's not everything else is more to who he is as a head coach so far in his young career. But still good X's and O's guy. Decent run scheme. That's what his dad was known for. The one cut and go, turning some late round draft picks and some great running backs. Terrell Davis, we all remember that name. It was whoever the running back was that was going to get the carries in the Broncos lineup for so long. You would pick him up on fantasy. Like, was it Orlandis Gary? Anybody remember that name? It was just like some guys you never even heard of who would rush for 1,000 yards. That's kind of what Kyle has in place in San Francisco, where Elijah Mitchell has run for over the century mark in back-to-back games. This is a team, Alex, that, Elijah Mitchell might be a 6th-round pick, but him and then the dynamic with him and Jimmy Garoppolo and his ability to kind of distribute the football and be the game manager, it's what we saw and what Green Bay did last week. And winning the battle of time of possession, moving the chains, and being good between the 20s and keeping the Arizona Cardinals offense off the field, which is the most dangerous in 2021 for Arizona.
Yeah, no, it is. This is, again, for everything that you've just mentioned, a perfect litmus test and the perfect week for the Arizona Cardinals like we've seen all year. Every game has just worked out perfectly to the opponent they're playing, to what we need to find out about this organization and this team is, if the Cardinals take everything that you said, they've got their peaks, they've got their strengths, and beat the 49ers at Levi Stadium to keep them undefeated in division, is going to not only have ripple effects for this season, but seasons moving forward. I said that the Cardinals have the best 5-year outlook of any team in the NFC West, and I stand by that. And this is just going to be another little stake in that claim if they can go in and circumvent, whatever injury Kyler has, AJ Green not being there. We'll see what happens with Zaven Collins, and take care of business against a team that really wants to beat the Cardinals. This is personal because now the Cardinals are good. You're going to have people come out of the woodwork like, oh, it's the Cardinals still. We got them at home. We'll run ragged, but this is a big game. It's a big game, and the Cardinals should win, and they need to win for so many reasons.
So many reasons. I've got an interesting hypothetical I want to get into, and of course, we'll talk about that. The reasons why Niners and their fan base want to desperately win this game come Sunday. Kyler Murray, we'll get into the conversation about him. Looks like all signs pointing to him being in the lineup for the Cardinals and not missing a game with that ankle injury. We'll get into that conversation. This episode brought to you by McDonald's, proudly serving communities since 1965. McDonald's has been more than just a place to get tasty, affordable food. It's a place where friends and family can come reconnect. It's a place where classmates can meet up for a study group, knowing they'll have dependable Wi-Fi, endless supplies of French fries, McFlurries, and of course, McDonald's Coke. It just hits different. Win or lose is a place where teammates, competitors, home team, away team can come and recharge. It's the place you always look forward to stopping at a long road trip to rest your legs and refuel. So head to your local McDonald's, refuel, reconnect. Did somebody say Locked On Cardinals watch party?
What?
Yeah, go. They've got that dependable Wi-Fi. So just fire it up on YouTube. And of course, McDonald's is more than just a place for that affordable, tasty food. It's a place where friends and family from the community can come together. Big thank you to our friends at McDonald's for always being there. I'm loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. You can't say it without having it. You can't say it without having the little jingle. It either plays in your head or you say it out loud like I just did.
And genius for the voiceover guy to be the dude from Succession. Just a genius marketing move.
Which guy is that?
The dad.
Oh, the dad. Okay.
And Super Troopers, more like.
Yeah, that's right. He's the chief
he was the sheriff from the chief from Super
sheriff.
No,
oh my gosh.
I
didn't even notice that. But back here, Locked On Cardinals. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen each and every day. I know you have a lot of choices out there. Choosing us, we're forever grateful for that. Brack, Alex Clancy. Follow us on Twitter at Locked On AZCards, at BOBRECK, and at Clancy's Corner. So interesting hypothetical. So Kyler Murray, looking back at the film, we all saw it. He picked up the first down, a 1-yard rush after a 9-yard rush on the final drive for the Arizona Cardinals before the game-sealing pick. He injures his ankle. If the Arizona Cardinals, if AJ Green, if we jump back into get into the DeLorean, get into 88 and tell AJ Green to just turn his head and catch that back shoulder throw, and it's not picked off by Rasul Douglas, and the Arizona Cardinals improved to 8-0. Kyler Murray is hobbled.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals are unblemished. Do you even think about playing him in week 9 against the Niners? You do?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and the only reason why is that, well, first you try him out. You have Colt ready. You have both guys taking teams. Well, Kyle's not taking any reps. Cliff said he doesn't have. He has a DeAndre Hopkins treatment when DeAndre Hopkins is healthy. Ain't got to practice. He's going to show up on game day. You just have Colt take the snaps with the ones, and the reason why it's a no question yes for me is because all the other teams are 1-loss teams. Like the Cowboys and the Packers would have been a 2-loss team. The Bucs are a 2-loss team, but they're really, a 1-loss team. Like every inch you can gain on the teams that are nipping at your heels for that 1 seed, you have to at least try. We're not talking about Detroit in like week 15 or something. Like this is a very tough test on the road. Regardless of who's at quarterback. It's the 49ers. It's interdivision. You want to have your best guys out there. If Kyler is, 75% like we think he's going to be or better, I for sure roll him out. What about you? And do you sit him if they're 8-0?
I think if you're 8-0, you sit them and then you just see. This is an opportunity with the extra week as well to see what you have as far as if your doomsday scenario happens later in the season. Like, hey, we can rely on Colt McCoy. He can run this offense. I know that internally they probably believe that, but to tell the fan base, to show them and also get the rest that's necessary for your franchise quarterback, now it's more important. Now like you can't stand to lose anymore in this race, in this tight division race. As far as for the bye week, the NFC bye week in the playoffs, that's another one where the team that you just lost to they're in the driver's seat for that because, yeah, they do get to play the Lions again. They get to play the Bears. They get to play the Vikings, who might be the only team in the division that can put up a fight against the Packers. But yeah, I think it looks a lot different. I do. And that might be, a win this week would change your perspective on that loss too. You'd be like, okay, they're 8-1. 8-1 looks a lot better than, going from 7-0 to 7-1. So, Arizona Cardinals, I know that the Niners fans, they desperately want this one. I mean, I see it in my mentions all the time. I see the last time they matched up, they thought they were going to win. They don't, their grasp of reality they don't have a good grasp on it because since 2014, since Jim Harbaugh exited that franchise, they haven't been good. They've been bottom 5 in the NFL, and that's including a run to the Super Bowl. Like if you look at the record, Alex, I mean, since 2014, there's the Jags, there's the Jets, there's the Browns, there's the Giants, and then there's the Niners. That's bottom 5.
Yeah.
And crazy. They have this little run, like all the things that they've been waiting for. Shanahan's a genius. Just wait till he gets his players in place. Oh, Nick Bosa. Oh, we're so glad that he was just kind of gift wrapped and laid in our lap because the Cardinals take Kyler Murray and all this stuff. The plan's coming together, and then it never happens. It never comes to fruition. So they want to win this game so they can finally say, I told you so, because they don't have any leg to stand on. 2014, 47 wins. I mean, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, just another thing on top of this, to that point where, yes, the 49ers want to win. Obviously, you want to win every game. But yeah, for all the things you mentioned, looking at big picture here, if the Cardinals win, look at who the Rams have the next 3 weeks. The Titans at home, so they lost Derrick Henry. But the defense isn't great. They got Von Miller. We'll see. They have the 49ers on the road, and then they have their bye week, and then they play the Packers at Lambeau at the end of November. So the Rams are going to have some losable games coming up as well. Any momentum the Cardinals can have where they go 49ers, then they have Carolina at home, and then Seattle on the road. That's a much easier path to 2 out of 3 wins or 3 out of 3 wins than what the Rams have. So if you're going to want to separate not only from the Rams but the rest of the NFC West, you go to what the hell is it called? Levi on Sunday, and you win. And it's going to be a raucous crowd. The 49ers fans love their team. This is a game that the Cardinals, and they've had a lot of success up at Levi, that they go into, take care of business, and get the hell out of there. I mean, this is, and obviously these are very cliched things that I'm saying, very generalized things that I'm saying, but there is no excuse for the Cardinals to lose on Sunday.
Yeah,
even with Kyler 75%, if Colt McCoy, the goal of every game is to have Colt McCoy start the fourth quarter, because that means you're up by a bunch. We don't think that's going to happen on Sunday, but if they can go and smack the 49ers in the mouth and protect Kyler Murray, the rest of the NFL will take watch, because it'll work to the Cardinals' advantage that people are overstating what Kyle Shanahan is and what the 49ers have been. And the Cardinals go in there, take care of business, win by 2 scores, and get out of there. They'll be right back at the top of the power rankings again.
Yeah, it's a different team when they can come out of the gates, take care of business, score often and quickly and often. We saw them slow against the Jaguars. What was that, 7 points in that first half, and then it was slow last week. And then in the second half, they come alive. The offense comes alive, and the opportunities that they had, they took advantage of, and they found pay dirt. They've got to keep their gas. They got to keep their foot on the gas, and it's got to be right out of the gates. It does, because if you can take away that run pass balance that the Niners had for a while in teams that have been successful, that the Green Bay was able to hang their hat on all game long, then if you can take them out of that game plan, I mean, they're just eating out of the Arizona Cardinals' hands at that point, even without JJ Watt. So
for sure.
Locked On Cardinals, part of your Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'll start to get into our full game predictions, who we think is going to be the Cardinals' offensive player of the game and defensive player of the game. Make sure you're following along on Twitter at Locked On AZCards, at Clancy's Corner, and at Bob Brack. Easiest way to find me. I do have to tell you, tragic story. Like, if you were to go to Barnes & Noble and you said, I want to buy a book, it's a tragedy, and it's nonfiction, okay? This is a heartbreaker. I'm in a rush this morning. I've got my kid loaded up in his car seat. I'm ready to run out the door. I've got my coffee in hand. I go to grab old trusty Built Bar. To put salt in the wound of it not being there, it was an empty box. The box was left in the pantry.
Oh,
My wife took, and it was, I saved this one. It was a coconut brownie chunk.
Your favorite.
That I had saved. And she just took it willy-nilly.
Oh, divorced immediately.
Yeah, it was brutal. And I'm going to have to go to built.com. I'm going to have to use the promo code LOCKED15, get myself a new box, but it was heartbreaking. Also, got to bring into the conversation that we love Thanksgiving. We love good food, treats, plenty of them, but you might want a yummy dessert that isn't full of calories and sugar, and perfect for that, Built Bars. It's the new holiday dessert. Feast on something delicious to feel good about. One slice of pie has upwards of 300 calories, and that's on the low end. Most Built Bars, they're only 130, 180 calories, 4 grams of sugar, plenty of protein. Replace the coconut cream pie with a coconut Built Bar, or go to raspberry Built Bar instead of the raspberry pie. Lots of great flavors to replace any pie. Low calorie, low carb, low fat, high protein, covered in 100% real chocolate. Built is the great option for you when you're hungry. Thanksgiving isn't coming soon enough. Go to Built Bar, have a Built Bar or two, share some of your family gatherings. It will make everything a little bit less awkward. Go to built.com. Use the promo code LOCK15. You'll get 15% off your first order. That's promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com.
Yeah, that divorce, Bo, is going to make things very awkward.
What are the odds on that? Is that up on Bet Online after that?
I don't know. I mean, it's got to be plus 2,000. I mean, it's got to make the
shifted.
board at least. Built Bar, betonline.ag. Bo and I have been in a quandary about this because the line for the Cardinals 49ers game is a pick 'em still today, with no indication that Kyler Murray is going to miss the game. Rodney Hudson activated off IR. George Kittle trending towards playing, but it is. And if you want to find that line and all the other lines for football and basketball, go to betonline.ag. New web interface, and there's new props, odds, lines. There's more than ever before. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all basketball and football action this season. Go to the new updated website or use your mobile device. Sign up today. Receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit with promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. Again, go to the new website or use your mobile device to say today, sign up, receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit using promo code LOCKEDON. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Locked On Cardinals, part of your Locked On Podcast Network. You're loving it, absolutely. This big shout out to our friends over at McDonald's. It's time to get into our full game prediction with the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers. Alex mentioned that it's a pick'em spread. As far as the total, we'll see the total. It's kind of low for a Cardinals game this season. Just looking at it right now, 46. It's the lowest of the season so far. So not expecting a lot of points. Have we seen a weather forecast for Sunday? Do they expect to be any kind of bad weather on Sunday? I mean, I don't know. Is it going to be another torrential downpour like we saw on Sunday Night Football with the Colts?
Now, if it would be, I'm going to look up right now. If it were to be, what team would that benefit? Just quick hypothetical. Which team is more equipped for bad weather?
Well, I mean, watching the Niners look like crap in that game. Like they couldn't move the ball. They couldn't do anything. Their defense looked correct. It didn't play very well against Carson Wentz, who in the first half looked like overmatched and then put it together in the second half. Looking at Sunday, it's going to be partly cloudy and 66. So no issues there. It's football. It's good.
People spend a lot of money to live up for bad weather. Tell you what.
So that's not going to play a role. I mean, it's all going to come down to health. AJ Green doesn't make that big. It's a hit to the offense. I think Antoine Wesley probably plays that outside spot for the Arizona Cardinals. We're seeing him. I was thinking about this the other day when we were watching the game. And Antoine Wesley had a big catch. Played at Texas Tech for Cliff Kingsbury. He's a guy they picked up this offseason. He's getting a significant amount of playing time. Andy Isabella is on the side of a milk carton, man. I mean, what happened to that guy?
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, we haven't even talked to him. I mean, talked about him or
Yeah, I don't know.
mentioned his name or anything. Antoine Wesley, in the game against Green Bay, saw 53% of the snaps. So that's with DeAndre Hopkins being on the sideline with the hamstring. Maybe that's another thing. What's DeAndre Hopkins has missed 2 games in his entire career. What's his status going to be? I saw on his Instagram he was getting treatment on his hamstring. That's going to be huge for the Arizona Cardinals. So let's say this. Let's say there's no nuke and it's Kyler Murray back in the lineup, Rodney Hudson back in the lineup. No AJ Green, obviously. You have to have the 2 negative tests between now and then. In order to even travel on Saturday, right? They're traveling Saturday. You have to have the test pretty much done by then. So long shot for him. How are you breaking the game down with just Kyler, it's Christian Kirk, it's Rondale Moore, and your running backs are in the lineup? You feel pretty good about that?
You're missing one name, my friend.
Oh, and Zach Ertz, the forgotten man. Yeah.
It's going to be the Zach Ertz game.
Yeah.
This is like, we'll see. Like, if Zach Ertz goes for 5 for 120 and 2 touchdowns, I'm going to excrement my pants with excitement. Like, we don't think that's going to happen. But what we've seen so far is Zach Ertz can play an integral part right away, obviously. He's still got giddy up in open space. He's a large man. So if AJ Green's out, your wide receiver 2 may be playing in the slot or playing from the tight end position, running those routes. And you can have the young bucks on the outside run willy-nilly with Rondale Moore and Christian Kirk making secondaries, head spin. I mean, the secondary is not great for the 49ers, regardless of what people want you to believe. It's not a top-tier secondary. So they've got weapons. With AJ Green out, you put Zach Ertz, you get those targets to Zach Ertz. All you need to do with those 2 guys is move the chains, with a chance for a deep ball down the seam for Zach Ertz or down the sideline for AJ Green once in a while. You just need to move the chains. And I feel like they still have, do you say with DeAndre Hopkins out, are you just saying hypothetically speaking?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a weird offense. You'll see a lot more James Conner out of the backfield catching the ball. Like, they still have options. I mean, the Cardinals stayed in the game when DeAndre Hopkins was off the field. And you just ride the defense and hope the defense can get stops and get 3 and outs. And all you got to do is get Jimmy Garoppolo's kitchen. He'll throw a couple picks.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that at all. I think no doubt about it. You can rattle Jimmy G. He's not going to look like he did against the Bears previous week. If he does, it was a catastrophic breakdown for the Cardinals defense. That's
right.
Outside of the Minnesota game has been awesome this season. I mean, they were put in a position for 10 points last week that they shouldn't be on the hook on, and they had 2 goal line stands. One, they shut down. They give up 0 yards after the Rondale Moore, muff punt, and then you have the goal line stand to pretty much put them in a position to win the game. So yeah, it was the defense played really well, and I don't expect them to have a down game against Jimmy G and George Kittle coming back from injury, Deebo Samuel. So let's get into our full game predictions.
Yeah.
So 46 to pick them. I'm going to pick the Cardinals to win on the road. I don't think that's maybe even by a couple points here and there. Why not? Let's get crazy. They should take care of business. I mean, if Kyler's in the lineup, you got to expect that this offense is going to pick up where it left off. And outside of an ugly play from AJ Green, they were rolling. I mean, he was good for 99 yards of offense on that one drive alone. It was unreal.
Yeah. Part of me kind of wants to see a low scoring, pounded out, grounded up game that the Cardinals win to see that they can do it still. That's something they're going to have to win ugly games at some point. It's not always going to be a 30 burger. Obviously you want to see them put up 40 points every game, but if they can win 17-10 again, that would be more telling about this team. We know they can put up points, but being able to control the clock and keep the other team out of the end zone. And I'm going to tell you one stat, my favorite stat. The Cardinals are 5th in the NFL in total yards allowed per game at 319. The 49ers are 6th in total yards allowed, or in average yards per game, with 324. But the Cardinals are only giving up 17.3 points per game, and the 49ers are giving up 24.4 points per game. A full touchdown difference with the same amount of yards given up. So it shows the Cardinals defense is bend, don't break inside the 20s, don't give up huge plays, aside from the one, busted coverage by Byron Murphy against the Vikings. This defense is legit, so they can win low scoring, they can win high scoring. I just like to see it. I like the under to hit and for the Cardinals to be dominant on Sunday.
Yeah, if they can come out of the gates quick and get up early and then take their foot off the gas in the second half. I mean, I've already seen enough of the close game last week, the close game against the Niners before. This is where you're still looking at your head coach, your play caller, to make that adjustment. Like, as I said at the beginning of the show, it's back-to-back games now where the Niners have forced Cliff Kingsbury and the Cardinals to play their game. It's time for him to kind of flip the script. Mm-hmm. And with that, I think they need to put up, I'm going to say 27 points. And I think if they get past 21 points, that's going to put it beyond reach for the Niners in this game. I don't think they can score.
I mean, it's can't give up the big play. And Deebo Samuel's shown that he's a big play guy. Like, we've seen it. We haven't heard, folk tales about it. Now we've actually seen
down the field. It's not going to be down the field because we know old noodle arm Jimmy G can't make the throw down the field. I mean, he's going to throw it to him short, and then Deebo's going to make a play with his legs. Yeah. Good thing is the Cardinals are good. They're a good tackling team, and that's not going to change overnight. So I think that
what's your
they
prediction?
Can win this one 27-16.
Yeah, I'll do 24-17. That's a number. Cardinals win. Like, they've had faster starts on the road than they have at home. This is another statement game, different from Sean McVay, but still on the road. Cliff Kingsbury going there. You hope Isaiah. Well, we'll get to our defensive. We'll get to our offensive and defensive players again. But yeah, 24-17. So the Cardinals cover the pick'em, and the under hits here.
If you're just tuning into us, if this is your first game preview, we do a defensive and offensive player of the game, and we kind of exclude Kyler Murray from that conversation. Mm-hmm. We really do. It's the Kyler Murray Award because we pick him each game. So our offensive player has got to be different. We got to get a little bit more colorful with our selections here. No AJ Green, no DeAndre Hopkins. The run game, I'd love to see the run game come alive in this contest, but I just don't know if that's where it's going to be. I've been pounding the table for Rondale Moore, but a guy who always has a good game against San Francisco, it seems like. Even when Josh Rosen was the guy, it was Christian Kirk. I think it's a Christian Kirk game. He's been pretty quiet. He did have a big catch on that big drive going down against the Green Bay Packers. I think Christian Kirk, especially with some guys out in that wide receiver core, I think it's a game for him to put up some big numbers.
Zach Ertz, this is easy. Could be 2 touchdowns. Like, this is a Zach Ertz game. This is a welcome to the Arizona Cardinals, Zachy boy, you're going to get 10 targets game. And I'm stoked about it because who are they going to put on him? That's as fleet of foot. I mean, he doesn't have to giddy up that he once did. Yeah, but you know what? Fine. If Fred Warner is put on Zach Ertz, that gives Kyler all the room in the world in the middle of the field. Like, I feel like Fred Warner is going to spy Kyler more than we think, because he's so good, he's so fast, and he's so great in pass coverage. He's the best middle linebacker. Like, he just is. Defensively, I'm going to steal this from you like I like to. It's Isaiah Simmons coming out party, because that's the play he remembers.
The last time he was on the field,
Raheem Mostert in, like, Kyle Shanahan's like, you know what? We're going after the rook right away. He doesn't even know where he is. Bing, bang, boom, Raheem Mostert. And that was kind of like the beginning of Raheem Mostert as a star. Was that play? Was that last year? So maybe it was 2 years ago when he had 7 touchdowns in the NFC Championship game. But when he came into the league as a star, it's like, man, that guy's fast. Catch, 70-plus yards to the house. Isaiah Simmons. Gimme. That's why I went first.
All right. You son of a gun.
You can pick a coach if you want.
No, I'm going to go with Jordan Phillips. I've been watching a lot of film, and I've seen Jordan Phillips. He's been solid. He's been solid against the pass. He's been solid against the rush. That's what the Arizona Cardinals need coming back with him in the lineup the last couple of weeks, and J.J. Watt now out. I like Jordan Phillips. I think he's been disruptive. He's been getting after the quarterback, making their life hard. And with Jimmy G, Jordan Phillips, he might not rack up a sack, but you're going to see number 97 flying around there, pushing guys around. I like Jordan Phillips. And then just an honorable mention. I can't wait to see
the rules.
No, I just can't wait to see Byron Murphy match up with Deebo. I want to see that matchup. I like it. So,
me too.
Was Byron Murphy? He was out last time these two teams played, right? Was that the game he missed? I believe so. I believe so. They were down a couple guys. Weren't they down Marco Wilson and weren't they down Byron Murphy? And they still were able to get after Trey Lance. So a little bit different look this week. Jimmy G, different quarterback for the Niners. But, confidence should still be high, especially if Kyler can get in there. That's something to keep attention to on Twitter, at Locked On AZCards, at Clancy's Corner, at BOPRICK. If there is something, if there is some hiccup as far as Kyler Murray getting healthier, we're going to have it for you on social media. You'll get our opinions, get our thoughts, and also we'll be able to talk with you guys on the bird on Twitter. So hit us up there. Big thanks to McDonald's for sponsoring this episode of Locked On Cardinals. We will, of course, talk to you at halftime as we do each and every game. It'll be fun. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you on Sunday right here, Locked On Cardinals, part of your Locked On Podcast Network.